Firecrackers, and we're just about to get started. Like I said earlier, the topic we have at hand today, this is, well, in honor of our fallen heroes. We want to look at plight of military personnel and veterans in Nigeria. And I introduce my guest, Edadas Hakim Olawale. Once again, thank you so much for being here with us.
My pleasure.
Okay, all right, so let us first start on, it's not even a lighter note, because we are honoring our armed forces. It's something that is always so emotional, especially when the camera moves on to to capture the families. It is always so touching. But how did you see the celebration, the remembrance of our armed forces for this particular year?
Well, it's a good thing that that program, that event is observed on a yearly basis. In fact, it's a good thing. At least keeping the memory of the deceased alive is very important, especially for people who have paid the supreme prices or supreme price. The supreme price is nothing more than ready to lay your life for the safety, for the security of your citizen, of your fellow citizen. If you have that motive, if you can come out and say, yes, I'm ready to join the Army, Navy, Air Force in order to protect the territorial integrity of my country, it's a kind of serious decision. It's life and death decision, and if anybody can take that decision and say, I want to join the military, probably he served the military for as short or as long as he could, and he lives with unscathed, or he fall during the course of his service. Both the living that are called the military veterans and those that are fallen, that are called the fallen heroes, deserves celebration at least once in a year, as it has just been observed. It's a good thing. It was a good thing that we do that, and I will not say is whatsoever what input that is expended to sustain that event. I'm in support of it. Is worth it. The military veterans and the fallen heroes, what's being celebrated on the yearly, what's being celebrated and remembered, and our armed forces too, what's being celebrated this once in a year. It's not too much. It's a good thing.
Okay, all right. So where we have an occupation that one sometimes have to pay the supreme price, or let me say most likely have to pay the supreme price. This is not a job. It's not the job for the weak. Let me just put it that way. But do you think the government is doing enough to make sure that, despite the fact that this job demands the ultimate sacrifice, they are still doing a lot of things to ensure that, okay, people are able to come to it, probably when it comes to their welfare, taking good care of them, even their family members too. Do you think the government is doing enough to make sure that this job, despite the fact that it is difficult, it could cost you your life, literally, they are still trying to make it attractive to people to come join?
Well, I cannot say the government is doing enough. I cannot say the government is not doing enough, because when we talk about government, we are talking about a system. I would rather say the system is not putting the right, implementing right policies, ensuring that the policies that are in place to take care of the welfare of ex-servicemen is not well monitored. The service is not well delivered. It's not about It's not about allowances or payments alone. No matter how much is paid today as an increment of on pension or a kind of allowance, probably maybe a SDA, even if the federal government gives every soldier as much as 10 million as SDA today, and after collecting that 10 million and we live another 10 years, that 10 million will be like 100,000 in the next 10 years. And if we, no matter what we acquire with that 10 million, we still not value much to us. However, if there are policies, the system has a kind of an arrangement that will ensure the welfare of ex-servicemen. It's like normal way of kind of resettling ex-servicemen, I mean resettling military personnel. The DDR, after conflict, the demobilization, the disembarkment, and the reintegration. Nigeria's policy, there is a policy that supports adequate reintegration of military veterans, but it is not well kept. It is not well taken care of. Let me bring this and let me into this is a real fact. This is an analysis of it. For instance, now, by the time during the recruitment, after advertisements and what do you call it, assembly, people will come from different local government, probably Lagos State with 20 local governments. People will come from 20 local governments of Lagos State, and probably they are to take like a 80. You understand? Or let's say 100 from each local government. I mean from the whole state.
Oh.
100 from the whole state. So now to take 100 from the whole state means that it will not take more than 5 from each local government. You know, now know that we have at least more than 10 towns and villages within each and every local government. Assume 20 towns and villages within it, which means that it will take another 5 years for it. I mean 4 years for all the villages to have representative in the military. If you take one from one village within a local government, then after you have taken them from different local governments, then they have been in the service for as long as they should be. They intend to be in the service, or they should be in the service. So when they are coming back, they are different people, because the military training is like refining, like taking crude oil, take it to the refinery. By the time it gets to the refinery, it can never be crude oil again. So you have already converted the crude civil citizen to a refined military person with their own kind of normal and abnormal norms. So their thinking, their orientation has already differed from the normal citizen. So they deserve to be reintegrated back into the society. It's like, as you have taken them from their village, you should be able to take them back to their village. And if it is not their village they should go back to, then you must have a place for them that will be comfortable for them, that they will be comfortable being in, that they can kind of have sense of integration. They should be able to, there should be a plan, there should be a policy, and I know there is a policy to support that. But all those policies, the DD after conflict is taken care of, but the R is not well taken care of. And because of that R that is not being taken care of, that is reintegration, that is making people seen as if welfare. What is welfare? Whenever you talk about welfare, what comes to the mind of a lot of people is money, is payment. But that's not welfare. That's not welfare. What about is housing? There is Nigerian housing policy, the Nigerian housing scheme, that the moment you become a soldier today, you are subscribed to that housing. How is this supporting the housing problem of military veterans? How many states, how many places, how many cities, how many towns do you see Nigerian Nigerian military housing estates? That's to tell you that it's an existing policy, but it's not it's not a working policy. There are so many failed or not working policy that we need to reactivate, we need to review, and that is why I'm using this medium to get across to whoever is in the place to do something about the military welfare, to begin to see that there is the need to overhaul the welfare policies that are effective on the military veterans. It's not about the money, it's about the allowances. It's not about whatever we are agitating for now. We should begin to see beyond that what can we do for them not to agitate again. You get what I'm saying? Yes. Now? That is.
Okay, there's this popular saying that once a soldier, always a soldier. So could you be that when we're talking about reintegration, probably after service, after retirement, do you see reintegration in a way of probably still putting these people with their expertise, trying to find a way to put their expertise in use, so it will not just be like they are probably abandoned, and then there are people who usually, there's this saying that when you stop working, you start dying. Yes. So retirement shouldn't be something that has to do with just complete rest. So what do you say about probably the government doing something that probably in the reintegration too, they are still making use of their wealth of experiences, it's not just going to waste?
God bless you. There's this part of reintegration of personnel, because reintegration has to do, we have various elements that should be reintegrated. Part of things that should be reintegrated is what do you call it, the infrastructures. You have to rebuild. Then when leaving the service, probably after 35 years, or those that put in paper that's voluntarily discharged, that we don't want to do again on our own. We have not reached 35 years, but we are good to go now. There's an arrangement. There is this Nigerian Armed Forces Resettlement Center at Oshodi. That is where you go and acquire skill, like your last 6 months rather, before you leave the service. You will be encouraged. For those that are going on a voluntary discharge, they will be encouraged, they will be advised to go and take a course there. That's a vocational, to go and undergo a vocational study there that can help them. There will be an added skill after leaving the service. You know, the military skill is different. It's about being trained, having been trained to fight, to prevent, and to ensure that there is no insecurity, and whatsoever insecurity or conflicts arising does not affect the citizen. That's a skill on its own, but that may not be readily usable within the society after your resettlement, after you're leaving this the service. So that is why that resettlement center is there to train people on different skills, that especially the other ranks, those from the rank of private to master, army or navy or air warrant officers. You understand? So that is where the issue of this reintegration still is coming in now. We believe that the Nigeria system is seeing it that after retirement, after all, we are giving them gratuity. No matter how much the gratuity is, I don't think there is any other rank that gets up to 50 million as gratuity. And for you to build a house that can be of economic importance to you after leaving the service in places like Lagos, in anywhere, if not in Lagos, you need to build a lot of it. So if it were to be in Lagos, at least you need at least 4 flats, so that anywhere it is, you'll be getting something tangible at the end of every month, and it will cost you nothing less than 150 million to build. I'm a builder. a red building. And I want to tell you now that for you to build a 4-bedroom flat, it will cost you nothing less than 150 million. A standard, that's a maintenance, almost maintenance free for flats. When we say maintenance, because it's at old age, at the age of 50, 55, he now wants to build a house. He should build a house that will be free of maintenance for the next, at least for the next 25 years. At 25 years to his 50 years, 75 years, so that he will not start maintaining that house with tenants, with the rents. You know what I'm saying now? And that will cost him not less than 150,000. And he was paid 50,000. I mean, 150 million. And he was paid 50 million, which means that he will only build maybe a 3-bedroom flat with that 50 million. After spending the 50 million of his gratuity on that. And no, hardly you see anyone, any other rank going with up to 50 million as gratuity. I'm telling you, you can confirm. If anybody is going with up to 50 million as gratuity, maybe it's a army warrant officer. And we have them very few. It's like getting to the rank of general, the army. How many generals do we have in Nigeria? You can only have 1 or 2 in a course. That's each, like intake for soldiers, course for military, intake for other rank, course for commissioned officers. You get what I'm saying? So you can only have 1. That is having 1 out of 1,000, or having 1 out of 800. It's like having none. Is that not? So the highest any other rank can get cannot be more than 50 million. So he now gets that 50 million, he spend everything on house. So now he has acquired skill. That money is expected that out of that money he's supposed to divide it into 3. That year should have been, the state should have taken care of his accommodation. As you are leaving the army, whether you stay, at least if you say, okay, those ones that are pensionable from the age of 12 years and above in service, that there should be a home somewhere of their choice for them. That is some of the things that we should begin to reflect on. The government, this is a thing that we should begin to see how we can make work. We have land everywhere. No matter, even here in Lagos, we can still reclaim land somewhere and say this is meant for military veterans. We can build a room and parlor self-contained, that's a mini flat. We can build all they ease the problems of the people. I'm the chairman of Nigerian Legion Lagos State. I know what the real problems our veterans are facing. One of their major problems is problem of housing, that's rents. They were paid those ones. They were those 63 NA, those ones that fought the Civil War. They are even more unlucky. Most of them could not build a house. My vice chairman is 81 years old. He's trying to build a house. He's struggling. Thank God for him. What about those who don't even have resources to even attempt? It shouldn't be their problem. Should housing be their problem? The housing that was not their problem in service, why should it become their problem out of service? Which means that you can only take care of them when they are useful to the nation. Now they seem not to be useful, then you abandon them. It's not ideal. We cannot say the government should take care of serving military personnel, but by taking care of the serving that's taking care of ex-servicemen, it will be sending positive signal to serving personnel that whenever I retire too, I don't have to overstress myself. I should only give in my best and serve and come alive. If I am able to come alive, good, there is something good for me. My government is having some goodies for me. Even if I fall, my family will never suffer. Until we are able to kind of take care of the ex-service military veterans, the widows, the orphans of the fallen heroes, until we are able to give them that kind of that kind of thinking.
Feel like assurance.
Assurance. we are not ready to help the military service, the service itself. There was an interview granted by a 76-year-old military veterans, happened to be my secretary. No, I can't tell Baba what he should say on air, but he was there telling Nigerian. It's saddening. I was not happy too that he never had encouraged his child to join the army because of his experience, not because of his experience while in service. It's because of his experience outside the service. But I can tell you, one of our major problems is, and that I hope I'm still.
Oh yes, please go ahead.
That is why, and that is why we look at it as, if like me, I can fend for myself by God's grace. I'm a professional. I did more or less a vocational, what do you call it, though as a builder. I studied building. I've been getting job even before leaving the army. It's one of the things that let me leave the army so that I can start, since I've spent 15, I stayed 15 years in army. I stayed 15 years in army. I've been out of the army for more than 12 years now. You get what I'm saying now? My mates are now 27 years in service. I know what they are going through. It's like there is no future for them. We are their future.
Do you think that this situation of some soldiers knowing that after retirement, after leaving service, there's really nothing left for them to come and face? Do you think that that is reasons why you might be having compromising soldiers? Because we've heard from people who are at the scene where they said that some soldiers are actually the ones that are being informant to some of these terrorists and bandits. Do you think that it might be their own way of securing their posts before they leave? Because since the image is what painted that by the time you leave the service, you're on your own. Do you think that that might be part of the things that is contributing to it?
There is nothing poverty cannot make one do, or be the fear of unknown. Actually, it's not an excuse, because you don't join the service, you don't enlist, or you don't go into military service to go and make money. As you have to kind of remove that from your own consciousness first, that you should be conscious of one thing, which is the security of the territorial integrity of your nation. It's a service that is a responsibility you took an oath to perform. It's something that is like you have joy. It's like this is what I want to do, and you want to do it with one mind, and you have to do it with one mind, irrespective of what situation you find yourself. You should not involve yourself in anything that can frustrate the efforts of others at ensuring that the service is well delivered. That's so by joining forces or kind of compromising in the course of operation, like kind of partner, conniving with the terrorist is not acceptable. It's not acceptable for whatsoever condition, whether because you are poor or because there is no hope of tomorrow for you. It is still not an excuse, but it's an inducing factor. Poverty is an inducing factor for many insecurity challenges we are facing in Nigeria. Until we are able to solve the problem of insecurity by kind of reducing or eliminating the inducing factor, we will continue to face that challenge of insecurity, including ineffectiveness or inefficiency of our armed forces. If you don't take care of if there is no hope. Any government that fails to give its people hope is already a failure. A failure. So whatsoever system that cannot assure the future, the tomorrow of the people, is very a failed system. It's a collapsed system. So therefore, to get the best of our service personnel, we need to prepare a better tomorrow for them. Let them be assured and reassured of their better tomorrow. That's life after service. We armies, I'm still young now, by God's grace. To you I may look old, but to me I still look young, because I'm talking about when I say the plight of veterans that are vulnerable, that cannot help themselves. They cannot help themselves. They only live, they are always expecting the pension. Nigeria today, some ex-servicemen, some military veterans are still any less than 30,000 as pension. No? Are you with me? So this Baba is 80 years old. Even some drugs that they will take within that month is more than 30,000. And the funny part of it is there are so many things that are not well. So that is, there's need for thank God that we have a kind of a listening government now. All of you can bear witness to the fact that it has never happened that a protesting group will be taking care that their problem, their yearning, their aspiration will be responded to while they are still at the point of protest. And that was what happened during the last demonstration that was staged by the military veterans. The government, probably the president or whoever is responsible to that, gave directive that the money should be paid, and people started saying alas right from there. And it's still the government of Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu still promised more, and I personally have confidence in that government. Why? Because I want to tell you that all these talks have been doing that since morning, or since I've been here. There's an exception. The Lagos state government is like really ready, ever ready to do something at least to ease the problems, the sufferings of the military veterans in the state. I represent the Nigerian Legion. Other groups are there, but Nigerian Legion is the only enacted organization representing the interest, the welfare of the military personnel, ex-servicemen. So it's not as if we don't have other association of organizations. Those ones are kind of they are formed by a group of people outside but under the act, the what do you call it, the association law. But this one is an enacted organization, and since I became the chairman and haven't known the content of the law, the enactment, I zero my mind on whatsoever what the law says we should do. I will try as much as possible to do 1 or 2 or 3 out of it that will stand the test of time. For instance, now it is the responsibility of the Legion to ensure that's the major reason for establishing the Nigerian Legion is to foster comradeship among the ex-servicemen. That's bringing them together. Let them be together. Let them stay around themselves harmoniously. Let them enjoy the what do you call it, the companies of themselves, and see that can attempt to improve their quality of life and invariably their lifespan too. And to that effect, even by January 31st, we shall be organizing an event called the military feting the military veterans. It's an attempt to bring all the military veterans that are registered with the Legion together and fet them, let them have a social dignity, a kind of feeling that people are there. And how do we achieve all this? Is the support we get from the state government. The state governor is very concerned about our welfare. It's just that nobody can do it all for people, for anybody, but they are trying. The state government, the Lagos state government, during my own time, I know that there are testimony from other past leader of the region too. But my own testimony is that the experience I have with the foreign state government is impressive. And if what Lagos state is doing, every other state is repeating, is doing the same thing, I think the yearnings, the aspiration, of not taking care of us by the noise we reduce, it now remains on what are the tangible features put in place, like the housing. There's need for us to overhaul the housing policy effective on the military veterans. The medical, as far as veterans is concerned, the medical care of military veterans should be separated from the serving military personnel. There should be a different, let's have a different, a stand-alone medical policy for the military veterans. The system for the military veterans, it should be separated. Whatsoever what should be voted to be, there's nothing stopping us from having a hospital or medical center designated for military veterans in every local government. Because every time, if you have a local government with 20 towns or cities, or villages, at least those 20 towns will have a representative of the military within a span of 20 years. All of them will have had one. And if they did not, all of them did not, at least we would have had at least 20 from that local government, minimally. So within a span of 100 years, definitely we will have at least reasonable number of people that are facing medical challenge. If we cannot have it, at least let's have it in some division, staggered within a state. At least 2-3 within a state will not be too much. A medical center specifically for the military veterans. There's nothing bad about that. I know it's something the Lagos state government can do, but they are doing it another thing. Like when during the time of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, the 2025 emblem appeal launch by the governor, when I presented the plights of the veterans as concerning housing problem, it was right there that the government pledged to support the region with 5 housing units. I don't think is it 5 housing units. He expressly stated when we talked about vehicles, he pledged vehicles immediately apart from money. That is some of things. It's not about money alone. The money that was pledged, which is 75 million, cannot buy those houses, cannot buy those vehicles. But it's something that will motivate us too, we that are there and those that are around us. By the time, this welfare package, this welfare, like this year, under my supervision, we are able to reach across, at least share food stuff, give live chicken to each and every widows of military veterans who we have their details, because we asked them like 2 years ago when I came to office that they should submit their details to come and register with us. So those that are registered with us, we are able to reach out to them, live chicken, rice and other things. And those that could not meet up, we could not find the bill, they went for Christmas or something like that, they are still coming to collect for survival. And that is a trend we want to continue. That's an arrangement we want to continue. We want to make it a monthly thing. There's nothing wrong supporting the widows every month. Go and be we take it to their doorsteps. It's not about gathering them somewhere. In places where there are barracks that arrange it such that we don't have to go to their doorstep, like Night Brigade, night brigade arrange such that they gather them in a place where they monitor it so that it will not be escalated as we witness in other places. So, and so many people are coming, and one of the problems we still have is that everything we push to the government. The discussion has been government. Yes, the government's effort is not working or is not working enough. Then what are we doing to supplement it, to complement the government's efforts? Is there anybody that can come and say, this is what I've donated to the Legion to take care of his military, the vulnerable military veterans and his and the widows and orphans of fallen heroes? No, we don't have many that can come out and say that. Recently, last week, or during the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, on Wednesday, Tuesday, before the Armed Forces, I was called from the office of the Directorate of State Services, that's DSS, that they have donation for the Legion. The one at what do you call it, Shangisha, just called not more than 3 minutes after those at Ikoyi called that they have donation for the Legion. By the time I went for one myself, getting there, the command there donated 678,300 naira or so, or 500, 678,500. That's donated by staff. And that was the directive of the Director General of DSS, of State Service. How many Director Generals across board was able to do that and say, all states, wherever you are, police, make sure that you support the army, do that in all states? Nobody. Like during the time we are trying to arrange how to get rice for, I met with the brigade commander. I said, okay, we need rice. Don't worry, I'll facilitate it. He was able. We already bought like 50 bags of rice. That was very expensive because we cannot afford to give them something of inferior quality.
Yes.
So we're looking at it should be foreign. Yes, that is what people eat. We cannot say because we cannot give them what they should know. So don't worry, I will facilitate it. Then the Air Force facilitated it, and we were able to get additional 50 at a reduced rate. Those are some efforts we should put up in order to support the veterans. Apart from that, we intend to embark on a housing project on our own. I know that after this discussion, the federal government can call and say, don't worry, we will do that for you. But now, we already get a space. The documentation of it, and that's the pre-construction stage, we got up to 150 million. We don't even have up to 10 million, sir. But we are already writing to people outside to support us. No matter how little one can do. It takes a command. If a command can contribute as much as more than 500,000, the other command did the same thing, more than 500,000. That's the two SS commands in Lagos supported Nigerian Legion with not less than 1 million naira.
Okay, well, let us quickly look at some of the things that the federal government is trying to do, especially for top generals. That is the one of granting up to $200,000 medical tourism, a cook for them, bulletproof SUV. How do you see that development? Because it is supposed to be for the top generals, but do you see they extending such benefits? Well, definitely, we are not looking for something identical, but at least some benefits going to people of other ranks too, and not just the ones at the top.
Yeah. You know, even if you give a madman, he will always cultivate the land towards himself, or heap the land towards himself, or soil towards himself. The issue is, if I say, it's good enough, I'm deceiving myself. It's not good enough. It is good that the government is making effort to kind of compensate reward the generals. They deserve it. To be honest, it's not easy to be a general. Whether brigadier general, major general, lieutenant general, they're like professors now in our universities. Their own is even more than, goes beyond being a professor, because a general, so it's not too much, but it is not adequate. It is not ideal enough until every ex-serviceman, every military veteran has a home by the government, has very good medical care. Let me tell you, there's something synonymous about the military veterans, as in the other ranks. To be honest, they are not well structured. Their life is not that well organized. The job takes too much. It's too much into their time that they hardly have time for themselves. I mean the other ranks. The job it's in them too much, so much that they don't even, like, there's a common Yoruba slang that we use in the army, that you have to be soldier lomo koromobi. The mother of a soldier is a what do you call it?
Like a childless person.
It's a childless person. You get what I'm saying now? Because he has no, that woman has no influence over his child again. He cannot say, Lamidi or Samuel, come, I want to see you at home. I mean, I want to see you next tomorrow, and you start. No. When you are entitled to annual leave, but it is not. It's, you have rights. I mean, you have privilege. Leave is a privilege. I don't know if in any other what have you, but in the military, leave is a privilege. It's not a right. Though you will get your allowance for it too, but it's not automatic that you will go. Somebody that the mother cannot call, say come tomorrow, that will, so how do you now think he can take care of it? So now most of them do not have time to even take care of their children. And the wife, if they are not fortunate enough to marry a kind of a responsible wife, because how do you, we have situation whereby after service some soldiers say, I want to go to my state or to my village. The wife will say, if you want to go to your village, go. Me, I'm not going. Many, as I'm speaking now, some people will be nodding their head and say, yes, it happened to me. This is something we witnessed. So the soldier now will now come back to the village and start all over again. And you will now see a man of between 52 and 63 years starting to marrying a young wife and start the business of raising children.
With 30,000 naira retirement.
How do you? So there are some things. Even we need something like Nigerian Legion Primary School, Nigerian Legion Secondary School, probably Nigerian Legion higher institutions, so that military veterans children can can have an edge over, I mean, in those areas, so that if government wants to deploy any resources to take care of these three areas, either education of their children or even their grandchildren, if any family of military veterans should be encouraged, should be celebrated, should be compensated. Not only children, not only wife. Even as he's serving, as he's still a veteran, he deserves it. You know why he deserves it now? Because he signed the seal of death. By the time I was to leave Oshodi, because I left the service and I went to Oshodi, then there's this Thanksgiving. Then the priest said, the origin of this is to give thanks that the armor of death that you as a soldier have been carrying about for long, this day you are removing it, the cloak of death. Every soldier that is still wearing uniform today, every rate, every airman that is wearing uniform today is wearing nothing but armor of death.
That is a strong imagery.
So until he is able to live without dying or deserting, it's not it's not free, because if he deserts, the state will not recognize him or her. If he dies, sorry, especially here where we only celebrate but we don't compensate. So the appropriate, the adequate, just compensation should be put in place, not about allowance. Allowance should be adequate. You improve on the on allowance of military veterans. On our allowance, there should be improvements. But there are some things the allowance are capable of taking care of. The housing, the what do you call it? Me as I'm here, I refuse to collect my contribution to the national housing scheme because it's nothing to write home about. That was not the contract I signed. Well, my expectation was that after subscribing for the housing scheme for the next 15 years, does it mean that I don't deserve a place in my hometown? By the time I left the service 12 years ago, how much was a plot of land in Ekpe? What does it cost the government to get a land, federal government to acquire a land? Federal government and other government have been acquiring land everywhere in Ekpe now. Why not allocate a plot of land, a large portion of land to military veterans? This is constructive criticism. It is a point to note. If we can put all this in place for the other ranks, you can decide to even give 10 million to generals. Nobody will complain. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. That is it.
All right, thank you so much. This has really been enlightening, and I think it actually put in perspective a lot of things that ex-military men are going through, and a lot of people are not even aware of it. You know, sometimes you need to be in a particular profession to know everything there is to know about that particular profession.
Definitely.
But I think this would make a lot of people even sympathize with ex-servicemen, and then at least there will be this understanding that, okay, I know what you're going through. And probably too, this would also get attention of the government in doing something for our ex-servicemen, because truly they are heroes.
There's something tangible, not that they are not doing anything.
There's something tangible.
Yes, I mentioned the governor of Lagos State.
Yes.
He pledged vehicles.
Yes.
He pledged housing units, at least 5. I know he will do more by God's grace. He pledged money. 750 million is not a small money. If we begin to share it now, at least something, even if it is for 3 days, it will sustain us.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying
Yes,
now?
sir.
However, we should look beyond. When I requested, I said, Governor should please give us a house, a temporary housing, what have you. He said no. The governor said no, we can't give you temporary house. Even if you're not giving you plenty, let's give you few that is not temporary, that is legion. Go and give people that are more based on priority. I visited one of the most vulnerable person, one of the persons that have the challenge of housing. When I told him, they were jubilating already. They were, thank God, oh, God bless. I have the video. You have the video. I will still play it too. The governor will sit, everybody will soon see it too. We are not conjecturing here.
All right, thank you so much, but sadly we've run out of time, because this is something that we could talk about all day. This has been enlightening, it has been educating, it has been informative. Thank you so much for being with us today on Firecrackers.
I should thank you more for giving us the privilege.
All right, so that's Wolimo Akim Olawale. He's the chairman, Nigerian Legion, Lagos State Command. And this is where we'll be dropping the curtains on today's episode of Firecrackers.